In the fading light of dusk, a scene unfolds that chills the very soul. A little girl, no older than 7, stands before an imposing, high-tech security gate. Her name is Maya, and her small hands press against the cold, unyielding iron bars. On the other side, inside a sterile, state-of-the-art control room, her mother, Evelyn, watches her on a bank of monitors. There's no warmth in her eyes, only a detached, clinical assessment. The setting sun casts long, lonely shadows, and Maya's pleas are swallowed by the evening air. "Mommy, please let me in," she cries, her voice trembling. "It's getting dark. I'm scared." But the gate remains shut. This isn't just a gate. It's a fortress wall, separating a mother from her child. And the reason for it is as bizarre as it is heartbreaking. What could drive a mother to lock her own daughter out? To understand this, we need to look closer at Evelyn. To her neighbors, she was always a bit of an enigma. Her home was a marvel of modern architecture, a pristine sanctuary of glass and steel. The lawn was an immaculate carpet of green, each blade of grass seemingly manicured to perfection. Evelyn's obsession with her property was legendary in the neighborhood. They'd see her at all hours, polishing the chrome accents on her fence, wiping down the security cameras, and surveying her domain with a look of fierce, possessive pride. She valued order, cleanliness, and control above all else. Her home wasn't just a place to live. It was a monument to her success, a fortress against the messy, unpredictable, outside world. But this fortress had a price, and little Maya was the one paying it. That fateful evening, Maya had been playing in the front yard, just as she did every day. A small, stray puppy, muddy and playful, had wandered over. Delighted, Maya had knelt to pet it, her hands getting a little dirty, a smudge of mud appearing on her dress. It was an innocent, joyful moment, the kind that defines childhood. But for Evelyn, watching from her window, it was a transgression. It was dirt. It was chaos. It was a breach of her carefully constructed sterile environment. In her mind, the puppy was a vector of filth, and Maya, by touching it, had become contaminated. So when Maya ran to the gate, ready to come inside for dinner, she found it locked. Her mother's voice, cold and disembodied, crackled through the intercom. "You are not to bring that filth into my house, Maya. You can come in when you are clean." As darkness fully descended, Maya's quiet sobs turned into cries of genuine fear. The friendly neighborhood streets began to look menacing in the gloom. The whispers started among the neighbors. At first, it was just confused glances. Mrs. Gable from next door, watering her roses, saw Maya huddled by the gate and frowned. Mr. Henderson, walking his dog, slowed his pace, a look of concern on his face. Soon, a small crowd began to gather at a respectful distance. They had all witnessed Evelyn's obsessive behavior before, but this was different. This was cruelty. The whispers grew louder, turning from murmurs of confusion to hushed tones of outrage. "Can you believe it? She's locked her own daughter out," one person said. "Over a little dirt." "She's lost her mind," another replied. The scene became a bizarre tableau. The perfect, gleaming house, a beacon of modern design, now looked like a cold, heartless prison. Outside, a small, terrified child, and a growing crowd of horrified onlookers. The high-tech gate, once a symbol of Evelyn's wealth and security, had transformed into a symbol of her profound and disturbing isolation. It wasn't just keeping the world out, it was locking her humanity in, far away from her own child. The neighbors felt a collective sense of responsibility. This wasn't just a family matter anymore. It was a community issue. A child was in danger, not from a stranger, but from her own mother's warped priorities. Someone in the crowd finally made the call. Within minutes, the quiet suburban street was filled with the flashing lights of a police car. 2 officers stepped out, their faces grim as they took in the scene: the crying child, the silent house, the anxious crowd. They approached the gate, their voices calm but firm as they spoke into the intercom. "Ma'am, this is the police. You need to open this gate and let your daughter in, now." For a few tense moments, there was only silence. The entire neighborhood held its breath. Inside, Evelyn must have realized the game was up. The outside world, she tried so hard to keep at bay, had finally breached her walls, not with dirt, but with the force of law and social decency. With a reluctant electronic hum, the heavy gate slid open. One of the officers gently scooped a shivering Maya into his arms, wrapping her in a warm blanket from his car. The other officer walked purposefully toward the front door, which Evelyn had now opened. The confrontation was quiet, but loaded with unspoken condemnation. The neighbors watched as Evelyn, her face a mask of indignation, tried to justify her actions. She spoke of hygiene, of standards, of protecting her investment. To her, the smudges of dirt on Maya's dress were a greater threat than the emotional and physical danger she had placed her daughter in. Her logic was impenetrable, her lack of empathy staggering. In her world, a pristine lawn was worth more than a child's sense of safety. The incident sent shockwaves through the community. Child Protective Services were involved, and Evelyn was mandated to attend therapy. The story became a local cautionary tale, a stark reminder that the prettiest facades can hide the ugliest truths. The house, once an object of admiration, was now looked upon with pity and contempt. Evelyn's fortress had become her cage. But the most profound change was in Maya. She was placed in the temporary care of her aunt, a warm, loving woman whose home was messy, chaotic, and filled with laughter. Maya was safe, fed, and loved, but a part of her had been irrevocably broken that night. The trauma of being abandoned by her own mother, locked out in the dark, had left a deep and lasting scar. Years pass, and we see Maya as a young woman. She is successful, independent, and has built a life for herself far from her mother's sterile world. But the shadows of that evening still linger. We see her in her own apartment at night. Before she goes to bed, she performs a ritual. She checks the lock on her front door not once, not twice, but 3 times. She tests the window latches, making sure they are secure. Her home is her sanctuary, but it's also a fortress born of fear. The security she craves isn't against intruders from the outside world, but against the ghost of a mother who taught her that love is conditional and safety is fragile. The imposing iron gate is gone, but its bars are forever imprinted on her soul. She understands now, with a chilling clarity, the true cost of her mother's so-called protection. It wasn't about keeping danger out. It was about a deep-seated fear of life itself. And in her quest for a perfect, controlled world, Evelyn had created the one thing she feared most: a permanent, messy, and painful flaw in her daughter's heart. Maya learned the hardest lesson of all, that the most dangerous walls aren't the ones made of steel and concrete, but the ones we build around our own hearts. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that makes you think.